Welcome to episode 97 of the Canadian Prepper Podcast. We're recording on December the 20th, 2020. My name's Eric. I'm the host of the show, based in Southern Ontario. I'm a hunter, target shooter, ham radio operator, and computer geek. As a first responder, I witnessed an over-reliance on emergency services during major events and started a small preparedness company to help people get prepared for at least 72 hours, if not longer.
My name is Ian, and I live on Vancouver Island. I'm an outdoor enthusiast, sports shooter, and my farm's designated handyman.
I'm Alan. I'm a safety trainer, first responder, security expert, and overall safety nerd.
All right, want to help support the show and keep the Canadian Prepper Podcast on the air? You can buy some swag. We have both the Canadian Prepper Podcast t-shirt and the Tactical Velcro patch. Tactical Velcro patch, maybe. At prepperpodcast.ca. All proceeds help keep the lights on and the backup generator fueled.
I will personally donate a special prize to somebody who sends us a picture of them wearing the t-shirt with the patch sewn onto it, just for the record.
That would be great.
See, if I had known that, I would have just actually grabbed the vest and had a little patch
You're
on it.
responsible.
It's like the employees can apply.
Exactly. If you are enjoying the show, please take a few minutes and like us on Facebook, as well as submitting a review on iTunes. We want your feedback, good or bad, even if there's just a topic you want us to cover. You can chat with us, feedback at prepperpodcast.ca.
All right, so we've got some handy content for you in this episode. We're going to start off with some preparedness-related news articles. Next, we'll let you know what we've done for our preparedness since our last episode. Then we'll get into the main topic, handy homestead hose implements for the apocalypse off-grid tools.
Are you trying to get me to say something here? Are you trying to start something here already?
Oh, don't say it, don't say it.
The hose jokes are coming. Don't worry.
Oh yeah.
Just tick that explicit box and make it happen.
I've already checked the explicit box, so have at it.
Don't even get me started on the overcompensation jokes we're going to make with these
Perfect. Oh, right.
Moving to some news.
News articles.
Distracted by the hose.
As the story of my life right there. This is a link through Instagram to a video. Of course, the video always starts after things start to get weird, so we don't know the backstory behind this. It looks like it's in Alberta, and it looks like someone was given a warning and chose to be a bit of a jerk. Mostly the discussion on camera is there are two cops arresting a guy for playing pond hockey, one of the group, and I think they probably singled him out because he was probably being more belligerent than the rest of them. But arrested for playing pond hockey. Apparently, it's a health code violation, and so maybe more appropriate for the other CPP. But playing outside is now a crime. Also, if you watch the video, the local police are woefully undertrained, underpracticed, and underprepared to actually subdue someone who's even slightly bigger than them and only passively resisting.
But like I'm gonna have my Paul Harvey moment right now. It's like, and now for the rest of the story. So I just did some digging myself as well. Turns out that the ladies that were trying to arrest this guy had a different Calgary Police Service patch, and it turns out they are some of those ones we mentioned about 3 episodes ago that were like they hired an extra 700 peace officers to enforce these COVID rules. There's strong speculation that these were some of these extra new hires, and that's why they were woefully underprepared and undertrained. And that's waiting to be confirmed, though. But they had a different patch than the regular police. And then also, turns out this guy his brother's a first-round draft pick in the NHL, and he's actually plays junior hockey in Northern Ontario or something during the regular season. Used to, yeah.
I was going to say.
Yeah, used to.
Not anymore.
Yeah, and so I guess it's quite the hockey family. They were on Sportsnet as like an entire hour-long special on their family playing hockey. So it's not like this guy just some guys playing shinny or something on a pond, right? And so I guess this is kind of his passion. This probably explains from his end why he got so passionate about it too, right?
Which, I mean, and yes, I think it should be pretty obvious that we fully support going outside and playing. Yeah. And we think that, I personally, I don't speak for the rest of the panel, but I think that if you're outside, it's really hard to argue that you're putting anybody in danger other than maybe, a silly body check. Either way, if you are responsible for arresting somebody, you're responsible for doing it safely and efficiently, and that is not what happened in this particular case. And guy wasn't putting up any kind of a fight. And I mean, I've been there. I've had to go hands on with more people, bigger people than that in my life, and yeah, I'm a much bigger person than they are physically. But that was I was embarrassed for them. That was hard to watch.
Yeah, that was very interesting to watch. That's for sure.
We've got a comment in the live chat from Infamous E. It just says their shoulder patch is the new CPS patch. Started coming out last year. It's legit. They were full on CPS officers.
Well, that's even more embarrassing then.
It is.
So, to any of the law enforcement officers that happen to be listening to the podcast, you are being filmed. If you're going to take somebody down, just go ahead and take them down.
Yeah.
We have another comment.
That's not legal advice.
Another comment in the live chat here, which I quite enjoy. You're all a bunch of hosers.
Take off, eh?
And by the same token, though, I guess with use of force training might come in handy too when they pulled the taser right off the bat. Because I thought taser was pretty much like on the higher end of use of force. Like
last time I looked at the use of force model, the conductive electrical weapon was up there with active to assaultive resistance. So, you know, I'm not a use of force expert anymore. I was certified in tasers, you know, long time ago. I remember going back 15 years plus. But yeah, that was for active to assaultive resistance, not somebody who's deciding not to get on the ground when he's told.
Yeah.
That's passive resistance. That's very different. Anywho, moving on.
Yeah. All right. For myself, it'll come into play later on when we talk about what we've done for preps. But for those of you that own the DJI series of drones, like the Mavic Mini and the Mavic Air and stuff, this week the U.S. government decided to add DJI's parent company to the U.S. export ban because they're afraid of spyware and or espionage being conducted via these drones. So if you're taking pictures of your house and random other stuff, I guess you're sending a copy elsewhere as well. So they're not blocking sales per se yet of DJI drones in the U.S., but they're actually refusing to share any technology and a couple of things with them. But supposedly they're still for sale for now.
So if you want one, get one?
Not saying not get one, but I'm just saying, yeah.
What you're saying is if you're taking pictures, somebody else is also seeing those pictures?
Yeah, so if you're doing like naughty dronies or something, I don't know, like maybe.
Is that a thing? I'm sure that's a thing.
I'm sure
it's got to be a thing.
Yeah, and so just
is that Rule 34?
Yeah, that's right. If you're doing something via the cell phone, chances are it's being shared.
Yep.
Anyway,
guaranteed.
Especially when the app is free, you're the product, right?
Certainly are.
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah. Second article. So, Escape from London, kind of like Escape from New York, but much more polite and with tea. So, the Daily Mail had an article about, I guess, Boris Johnson implemented as of midnight today a severe lockdown, like Australia style, on London. So they said they were trying to prevent the spread of this new version of COVID that's supposedly running around. So they decided to tell everybody they're going to lock down the city in 24 hours. So naturally, what would happen? Everybody tried to leave and spread the disease.
Isn't that what happened to Will Smith's wife in I Am Legend? They're trying to get over the bridges and the bridges were being blown up.
Yeah, so it was it's a bit of a funny, and like typical British, they're like, I don't understand. Like they overbooked the train. I mean, there's
of course they did
80 tickets. There's 100 people trying to get on. I don't understand why that would be. And I'm like, well, and they're actually like comparing it to the last helicopter to Saigon and all this other stuff. And it's actually funny to read the fact that people are completely unprepared either to stay in place or they didn't see this coming and left well ahead of time. So if you had somewhere to go to and something like this was going down, you think you just go there ahead of time. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But
common sense is not very common.
Also, don't rely on something run by the government to get you where you're going.
That's right, public transport. Yeah,
yep, and good point.
And they were all showing like pictures of train stations and the big lineups. I'm like, yeah, so no social distancing happening, which is of course exactly what Boris was trying to avoid, and all this other stuff, and people panicking and getting pushy and stampeding, and I was like, oh boy, this is like just straight out of the movies now.
Yeah, so absolutely.
It's an interesting movie or interesting article to read. Plus, there's some video on it as well. The last one. It's a bit out there and hoity-toity and stuff, but hey, so it's winter solstice tomorrow. So after tomorrow, days start getting longer. So yay!
All right,
yay!
So we're over the hump of light levels. So as of tomorrow, and I guess it doesn't happen very often. But I guess Jupiter and Saturn are almost like over top of each other, so it's kind of an
It's the
interesting-
Christmas star for the first time in like 800 years or something.
Yeah, it's like they figured that was the Star of Bethlehem, was this Jupiter and Saturn conjunction, and so I put an article in there on from earthsky.org about astronomy basically, and yeah, I'm just happy because it's what my family has always celebrated because I could never get Christmas off, so we always celebrated the days getting longer.
That works.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Any reason to drink?
yeah, so that's
Yeah.
it. That's all I had.
All right, so I've got a couple articles here. The first one is in regards to COVID-19 lockdowns and Theresa Tam calling for stricter measures in hard-hit provinces. Sounds like now Ontario is going to be locked down as of Christmas Eve, assuming that's the announcement that's going to come out tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I think
we'll
we're
see.
pretty much guaranteed.
Yep.
Thanks, Doug.
Yeah, there's sources somewhere talking, saying that that's going to happen. I figure that's Dougie just leaking it ahead of time, but that's just me
I
thinking.
mean, he's done that pretty thorough. He's done that pretty well across every other circumstance. So why not this one?
Yeah, sure enough. So bring on the lockdowns. Everybody get your TP if you haven't already.
If you haven't by now, you probably aren't listening to this podcast. So.
But the worst part is this Theresa Tam. I mean, this dude has been asking for random stuff ever since this thing came out.
Wait, dude.
You seen that? You seen that Adam's apple? Come on now.
Yep.
Anyways,
I'm still confused.
yeah. Well, if you
A
actually
little bit ashamed.
Google pictures of her and you'll see the Adam's apple. Now you can't unsee it. Anyway, moving along. She's been saying everything, from masks don't work to now, masks don't work but be polite. Now masks totally work. Now we need 3-layer masks. She's been changing her mind so many times. So why is anybody taking advice from her at this point?
Who knows?
Because the science is never settled, except for climate change. Then the science is settled.
True. Tax it away.
That's it. Well, yeah, tax COVID then too. All right. Yeah, no, I just every time Theresa Tam opens its mouth, I just get angrier and angrier. It's like the most annoying sound in the world from Dumb and Dumber now.
Another reason why I put this article in, I figured it would trigger you and it'd be fun.
Well, you were right.
I know. So I've got another article here. Has nothing to do with Theresa Tam, so you can calm down, Ian. So it is in regards to Orillia-area citizens are using scanners, and that's in quotes, to disrupt OPP. So it sounds like the little Baofeng handheld radios are causing a little bit of an issue with the local coppers there, and some people are transmitting on an outgoing frequency they shouldn't be, and it's starting to draw some attention.
Well, isn't that why they're not allowed to be sold anymore?
They're not allowed to be sold because they're not certified by Industry Canada as a transmission type device. So
okay.
there is a newer version that is Industry Canada certified now that you can get. But the older model that is unlocked and can transmit at all kinds of different frequencies outside of ham is the one that's banned, and that's the one that is probably being used in this instance.
Well,
And,
I mean, that sounds more like an OPP problem than anything else.
It sounds like an Industry Canada problem, but and it just happens to be affecting frequencies.
For this particular situation, I mean, the OPP are on open frequencies that, when the rest of the world is on encrypted trunked digital repeaters, and they're still using, 177.995 open frequency. I mean, I'm just using that as a random example. That may or may not actually be an OPP channel, but
It's not.
But
yeah, it's.
I wouldn't want to be in their shoes when they actually get caught, because I'm sure some old fuds
No.
that have nothing better to do with their time will do a fox hunt and track them down, and then they say, "Hey, it's these guys." And
I've heard rumors through the local ham radio club here that they're interested in doing a little fox hunt just for fun, not necessarily to help out in the investigation in any way, but just because they enjoy hunting down people that are using frequencies they shouldn't, and they've expressed concern that right now they're using certain frequencies they shouldn't, and next thing you know they're going to be on the ham frequencies, causing all kinds of issues, and it just causes problems for the people that are using frequencies the proper way. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But
It would also be of benefit for the ham club to identify and disassociate themselves from those people.
100%. Yeah.
This is not us. This is not who we represent. And here's some more information, because police resources are already stretched, and so we'll do what we can to help and be nice.
Yeah, exactly. If they can disassociate themselves from it, it'll certainly keep people away from trying to shut them down or close down frequencies they already have access to, because it's always something. Frequencies are not abundant; they are all being used. So if the ham ones disappear, then ham radio goes, right?
So again, for the second time tonight, any police officers that happen to be listening to the podcast, please know that it's not actual hams that are doing that.
Yep.
Please take it out on the right people.
Exactly. But and those of you running around with Baofangs, if you have them, just make sure that you know if you're transmitting what you're transmitting on, because it can cause some trouble. But shall we move into what we've done lately for preps?
Sure.
So for myself, slowly starting to move back into the house. So we spent a couple of days kind of cleaning, organizing, doing some purging, and moving things back into the rooms they're supposed to be in. We're a little bit delayed, probably into mid-January now, depending on if this lockdown does happen on Christmas Eve. We'll be pushed back a little bit further than that, but we're waiting on a couple important things that are backordered, like faucets and shower glass and such. So
wait a second. Hang on.
Yep.
A construction project that's not going according to schedule.
Weird, isn't it?
You just blew my mind, Eric.
I know. Yep. Well, there you go. Podcast
I cannot believe that happened.
So it's only 2 weeks, so we can take it. It's not a big deal, but we're waiting on a couple of things there. Started a big network audit at home while getting things kind of reorganized. Deployed a couple more access points in the house and a new PoE switch, so power over Ethernet switch, and copied Hughes and grabbed a Dream machine from Ubiquity. So got that all set up and running. So
for the Neanderthals in the group, can you explain what a Dream machine is?
Yeah, it's basically a controller for the network. It'll do all kinds of fun, nerdy things. It can run your security cameras. It runs your switches, your access points. It's kind of a center area to control everything. So, yeah, nice little nerd toy.
Super nerd.
Oh yeah. And then started changing around my accounts to different passwords, so I'm not using the same password on every single account. Most were already switched. I had a few that I had to update with fresh passwords. Shut down some accounts that I no longer use as well, because why have them active if I'm not using them? And then if this is what I've done lately for preps wasn't nerdy enough, started getting a Raspberry Pi all built and set up to be a mini Tor router. So I can take that on the road when I'm traveling and push all my network traffic over Tor, whether I'm at a hotel room or at McDonald's or Starbucks or wherever I happen to be on the Wi-Fi or on the interweb. All my data will go over Tor, just because why not?
So your My Little Pony videos, nobody will know that you're watching them and everything else?
Only if I want to tell you about it, Ian.
All right. Sorry, I didn't mean out you as a brony, but
Once again, rule 34, and if you're not sure what that is, go ahead and Google that.
Yeah, just be careful where you Google it.
Yeah, you're gonna be shocked when I tell you.
Make sure your firewall's up when you do that, and you're on your VPN.
You're gonna be shocked when I tell you.
Push your traffic over Tor.
You're gonna be shocked when I tell you this happened in San Francisco, but I was in an elevator at this hotel one time. This guy walks in a full-on My Little Pony suit, and unbeknownst to me, there's a My Little Pony convention going on at the hotel. Just thanks for my company for putting me there, anyways. And then so he looks at me, and I looked at him, and he goes, "Do you want to pet me?" And I was like, pass.
Kinda, but
thanks
no.
for the offer. And that's when I learned what a brony was. It's like, I guess My Little Pony is like a big dude thing down in the States. I don't quite get it, but anyway.
Ours is not to wonder why.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's your interesting tidbit for the day.
Nope.
All right, as for myself, I got a new drone. It was a DJI, as a matter of fact. So, and immediately the wife's like, well, stop taking pictures of the house now.
The house by itself is of no value. It's the approach.
Yeah.
It's the approach in surrounding areas that really matter.
Yeah, no. So
Yep.
I just it's fun. It's very easy to fly, and it's got a fantastic camera on it and everything else. And of course, now I still gotta wait to go get an SD card for it, I guess. But yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's been lots of fun to tool around when it's not raining like a jungle around here. But yeah, so that was good with that. Been kind of tight the last couple of days doing a lot of prep for a big solstice dinner, or as we call it, our seafood solstice celebration. A little alliteration there going on. Because yeah, like I said, that was kind of our big thing. This is actually the first time I'm gonna.
Do you make a sign and you put the celebration with an S so it looks like 3 S's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we actually even have like the solstice socks instead of stockings, and we have a solstice bush instead of actually a solstice spruce, I think it was. And then we had everything's ass, right? And
like the aluminum pole, and you start with the airing of grievances, and
oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's just like Festivus, but better. And then I actually even this morning I was talking to my teenage daughters, and I was like, "Hey, so aren't you gonna go to bed early before the solstice silky chicken shows up?" They just looked at me and shook their head. They're just like, "Dad, I can't wait to leave." Raj. Okay.
It's going to be a total sayonara for me.
Yeah, that's right. Anyways, I mentioned them that there might be solstice surprises in their solstice stockings. That was just a little too much. Anyway,
You get arrested for that in the wrong part of the world.
yeah. So anyway, so other than that, we just had to hunker down the last few days. We had a massive storm blow through town, and it was like crazy rain. I bet you we got 4 inches of rain on one of the days. Like it was just insane. And so yeah, we're just kind of hunkered down for that. Did a couple grocery runs. As I actually got my fuel rotation half done, and then I got that rumor floating around from Ontario. I thought we can't be far behind, so I just thought I'd finish up the fuel rotation today. And then because I've had a bit of extra time at home, surprise, surprise, did some CGN deals, but actually nothing major. It's actually I've been making a concerted effort to go through all the extra excess drawers of crap around here, and they're all small items. But they add up. You know, eventually you can like finance some bigger items when you sell a bunch of small ones. So I've been trying to do some clear up, and yeah, it's been actually good. You know, lots to get rid of excess trash, right? And that's pretty much it.
Utter sucks.
Yeah.
Nothing. I didn't do really anything exciting this week. Been stupid busy with work and training and all kinds of other things. But I did get the membership card for my local amateur radio club. Ordered some mobile radios through Rapid Survival, and hopefully, fingers crossed, they'll be in the next week or so, and I can get them before Christmas, so I can install them before I go back to work in the new year.
Fingers crossed.
Maybe. We'll see. That's it. I really didn't do anything productive this week.
I just got a free SD card. Look at that.
Look at that. This has probably been the nerdiest what we've done lately for preps
Yeah.
ever.
All right. It's right up there anyways.
Let's move into the main topic, shall we?
All right. So I guess we should talk about why we're doing this. When we refer to hand tools for the off-grid location, we're kind of also talking about whether it be your hunt cabin. Maybe some of us are lucky enough to have a bug out location. Not all of us do. But it can also just be a home without power, right? So if you're in an extended power outage, or just you want to practice doing stuff manually instead of with labor-saving tools, why not? So it doesn't have to necessarily be just for those people that have an off-grid location and want to like homestead for reals, right?
Yeah,
when I was learning how to
absolutely.
use tools, I was taught that you have to be able to use the hand tools before you can use their power equvalent. And
Yeah.
I'm
like that
doing
rule.
the same. I'm doing the same thing with my kids now. Before you can use the Sawzall, you have to be able to use the handsaw first, as an example.
Yeah, it makes sense. I like it. So I've got a big long list of different tools here in the show notes. So I figured I'll start listing them off, and then we can kind of chat about them as we go and
Also,
list off some pros and cons.
for everybody that's out there, pay attention. If there's anybody on your prepper Christmas list that's still got a few things outstanding, there are going to be some great ideas.
Absolutely. So
I'm pretty sure it's the exact same intro to the Bob and Doug 12 Days of Christmas, now that I think about it. And if you haven't listened to that yet this year, you are failing as a Canadian.
In a tree.
Oh boy. So I've got my list here broken down into different categories. So first category up is just be able to build things. So starting out with something simple, a hammer. You need a hammer to build things.
Don't get mad, get the right size hammer.
Yep. I figured that was
Rule
nice
number
and
one.
simple to start out with. Yep. Wrenches, both metric and standard, because there's nothing more frustrating than having metric and needing standard, or vice versa.
Get an
Especially
extra
if you get
10 mil
anything-
wrench.
Well, yeah, because I
Always.
say 10 mil and half inch because they seem to disappear like into the vortex of the universe or something.
It's weird how
And,
that happens, isn't it?
If you're going to buy them, invest in the ratcheting box end wrenches. They are absolutely worth the money. 100 times out of 100.
And I've got the socket set. So
Also
also
metric
good to
end.
have.
Yeah, well, that's also because everything's starting to get made in... Well, not starting, but everything's made in China nowadays, and they use metric pretty much exclusively versus the U.S. that used imperial. So if you're buying stuff from China, you got to get the metric too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, just to throw it in the list there up with hammer is a screwdriver set. Makes sense
Yes.
to have.
Absolutely.
You're going to want that.
Canadian
for sure.
Tire, right now, and they do this every year, about this time, they start putting out their Boxing Week sales, and they put the normally $195, like 3,000 piece screwdriver set on about $20.
So the actual price it should be all year round.
The actual price that it should be, but look for those because they're an excellent deal, and they have a lifetime
Oh, yeah.
warranty.
Yep, they
So
sure
when
do.
you break one 10 years later, which I actually just went through a couple of weeks back, when you rip the rubber off the handle and it gets uncomfortable, you just take it back and they exchange it for a new one, no charge, no questions.
Yep. Yeah, they're great about it too.
Yep. They don't even care. They're proud. They're proud to do that. They're happy to do it. So
as long as they can match the numbers up on it and verify it's theirs, done. Yep. It's the only question they ask. What else I got? Set of pliers. So again, maybe two sets of pliers or three. My pliers always disappear.
Needle nose pliers, lineman pliers, different sizes.
Channel locks.
Channel locks. Yep. And they're like 10 different kinds of channel locks, depending on the kinds of sets you get.
Yep. Adjustable wrench. Again, multiple sizes. But something good to have in your pile of tools because it's going to be handy somewhere at some point.
Absolutely.
And then a pipe wrench, if you think that's something that you're going to need in your list of stuff, then why not? Especially if the power's out and help's not coming anytime soon, and you've got a pipe that needs either taken off or putting on or whatever, that's going to be handy.
Well,
no, I mean that really only matters if you have threaded pipe anywhere.
True, you should probably verify that first.
Yeah, like before you go and buy one, make sure that you actually need it.
Well, I mean, gas line pipe, like same idea, right? Yep. It's all threaded, but also it's just extra torque, right?
Some of it is, but a lot of it now is PEX. A lot of gas line.
True. Yep.
It's PEX. It's PEX up to the meter and then soldered in.
Wow.
Soldered in type M.
Huh. Crazy.
All right.
Got tape measure on the list.
Yep.
And anybody want to make a tape measure joke?
Well, length does matter. I mean, definitely length does matter. 25 feet is kind of the standard, but one of those those coil tape style that does like 100 feet, they come in handy as well for various construction things. But yeah, the 25 foot kind of takes care of most of your issues, right?
Yeah.
There are actually several different types of tape measures. Your best bet if you're going to have one is one that's metric on one side, imperial on the other. One that I used a lot when I was in trades was a self-centering tape. So it actually had the half mark every quarter inch. So wherever I measured to, it would tell me what the half dimension was, which was really
handy.
Yeah. So that was one that I had, and then just a friendly reminder that no two measuring tapes measure the same. So if you're rattling off precise measurements from one person to another, they're going to have they're going to come out with a different measurement, off by anywhere from a 1/16 to a quarter, depending on the end of the tape and the play in it and all those good things. So,
or the website you're on,
yeah, or the pills that you may or may not have taken at the time. There's my tape measure.
Yes, just make sure to not get a tape measure that's in internet inches. So, utility knife with spare blades.
Spare blades. So make sure when you buy your utility knives, they come in a bunch of different sizes, but the two standard ones are kind of HB and LB. Make sure you figure out which one it takes and get the proper one, I guess, right?
And there are all kinds of blades you can get. Those snap-off blades are fantastic. You can get like carpet hook blades, and you can get like super heavy-duty blades that are usually black because they're tactical. I don't know, but
assault blades.
They're assault blades. Yes,
you get super heavy-duty blades. You can get shingle blades that are heavy-duty and hooked. They'll cut like asphalt shingles, but they're a great tool. I don't. You can't have enough utility knives, and you can't have enough blades for that utility knife.
Yep. Ken in the live chat here has got a good point. Please learn to read the tape for the tape measure.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Perfect point.
If you want to throw your kids off who've learned only metric, you start talking about 16ths and 32nds and 8ths and stuff, and before you know it, they're just like walking away in frustration. It's like, what's that in millimeters?
or start measuring everything in thousandths of an inch.
Yeah, they can't be lucky like us because we're bimetrical. We swing both ways, right?
I'm not though. I translate everything from metric into imperial and then express it either as imperial or metric. Yeah. Fun fact, in the door and hardware world, there are actually 3 units of measurement. So there's imperial, which is of course American inches. There's soft metric, which is a direct conversion of imperial into millimeters, and there's hard metric, which is the rounded sizes. So a 3-foot door, which would be 36 inches, is 914 millimeters, but in soft metric, and 900 millimeters in hard metric. So you can either order a 914 mil door for a government project, which is 36 inches, or you can order a 900 mil door in hard metric, and the frames don't line up and the hardware doesn't line up. So if you're gonna measure things, make sure you're using the right unit of measurement.
Do I have to make the hard and soft joke?
Oh.
If there was any episode we were going to do that I thought was going to get us kicked off of YouTube, this was not the one.
Of all
But
the things.
apparently, it might be this one.
Yeah.
All right, next on the list, a putty knife. Actually, a level. Sorry, I got the level there. So that's, if you want to build things and have level, you're going to need a level.
Yep,
So,
absolutely.
Been a lifesaver when I'm living on a cliffside, that's for sure.
oh, yeah. Make it a tactical level if you want, spray paint it black. Got a putty knife.
Yeah, well, not just for putting
Handy.
putty down on the walls, but for scraping stuff up like chicken poop
Yep.
off the floor.
True.
Yeah, maybe don't use the same knife for that.
Well,
No, well,
You don't
Okay,
want
no,
to smear that
fine.
on the walls later.
yeah, probably not a good idea.
right.
Got assorted nails on the list.
Yep.
Always something that can come in handy.
Yep.
And, of course,
Match your nails and your hammers to each other.
here come the comments again. Assorted screws.
There are too many screws.
And nail it through it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the
Hand-
thing about screws when you use them, they are hard to pull out.
yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah.
Oh man.
So it's been a great 97 episodes, gentlemen. We're gonna have to find an
If my
alternate.
kids are listening, please stop now.
Yeah, you can find us next week on tour. I've got a hand grinder on the list. So,
Actually,
4.5-inch angle grinder will do a lot of things.
yeah. So, like, you're talking like an angle grinder equivalent, but manual. I've never seen one of those before.
yeah, no, I have not seen one either, but I know such a thing exists. It's just
I
a
mean,
matter
that was
of
always
finding one.
called a blade and a hacksaw in my experience, but
Yeah, I've
you
never
could
actually
probably
heard of a
do
hand
that,
grinder.
Yeah, you could probably do that. Let's see, hand drill. I'm sure you've all heard of that.
That's my personal favorite.
Yeah.
For drilling all sorts of stuff, pilot holes, rivets for reasons, and random other stuff. But like $3.
properly called a
store.
brace, by the way.
That's right. Yes, it is called a brace. This was actually my grandpa's, but yeah, he used it his whole life, and yeah, it's fantastic.
Oh, that's cool.
I have one that's actually it's got a nice oak handle in it. It was my grandpa's too. Oak
Well,
handle.
this was
and,
actually
that was oak.
yeah. I think this is oak too, but I actually had to spray paint it tactical green. Not so much the color choice, but just because it was going to get moldy otherwise. So I had to put some paint on it around here. But
Reasonable.
anyway,
Yeah. Cover up the mold with green. That makes sense.
Well, is that way you can't tell if it's moldy?
Exactly. So I've got a hand saw and hacksaw.
Well, the handsaw for carpentry work is certainly going to make sense.
Absolutely.
Fine teeth for fine cuts, and bigger teeth, lower tooth counts for rougher cuts.
And a hacksaw for reasons.
For reasons. We're breaking down it.
Multi-use. I mean, if you've got to, amputate a zombie bite or, cut metal in
Plumbing,
any way.
handcuffs, whatever.
Yeah, whatever
yeah.
it may be.
You name it. Clamps. Be able to hold things in place. Maybe for the hacksaw.
Yeah.
Maybe for the hacksaw. Maybe for welding.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe for gluing. Depending on the clamps, depending on the work.
Yep.
Lots of sizes available.
And I'm actually surprised with clamps you didn't include the vise.
Yeah. I guess I figured conversation would take us there.
Yeah, like that
Right
thing
there.
right there. Like, yeah, that was like
A good
garage
vice
sale
is
find.
absolutely invaluable in a shop.
Oh, yeah.
And if you can't find a use for it, then you don't need a shop.
Yeah. Oh, where to find them for the hand drill? From Connie. Yeah, Restore or Salvation Army and or garage sales. Like seriously, I think I saw one of them just like this for $3 there. Because nobody wants them anymore because they can get like a DeWalt power tool for 99 or whatever with a couple batteries, but they're actually very easy to find still, and plus every old guy that's having a garage sale will have one. So.
And if you're looking for new, Busy Bee Tools usually has them.
Or
I don't
probably Lehman's would be my guess too.
Lehman's?
Yeah, it's
What's
an
that?
American company. They ship to Canada, but it's like an Amish off-grid tool company.
Neat.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
If you want to spend a lot of money on one, Lee Valley.
Oh yeah, no, no, don't go there. Yeah.
With clamps, one of my favorite types of clamps, by the way, is the pipe clamp, which just works on 3/4 inch black pipe. I like that because you can have one set of clamps and 4 or 5 different lengths of pipe, and you can make the biggest whatever size clamp you want.
Nice.
That's my thing on clamps.
Oh.
I like the quick clamps. They're
Next on my list here is the trusty axe. Again, for reasons like
Also
cutting
for
down
zombies.
trees
Zombies.
and zombies.
And if you want to go all autistic on axes, go to Wrangler Star's YouTube channel. Like he'll spend 40 or 50 episodes talking about axes. Except for him and I disagree vehemently on Fiskars. But anyway, he's a fun channel. So
Gotta disagree on something, I suppose.
yeah.
That's an entire series on its own. Axes.
Oh yes, yes.
Well, because if you're gonna have a wooden handled axe, you gotta have a spare wood handle, and you gotta have some wedges to like tap that wood into place and everything else. If you have Fiskars and society's still intact, well, you can always just send it in for warranty forever.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
it's two ways of thinking about it, right?
Yeah, if society collapses, that warranty.
I can buy a lot of Fiskars for the price of just about any other axe out there.
Yeah, for like a Wetterlings or one of those Grand Force Brooks axes, you can buy about 10 Fiskars. So
Yeah, exactly. And I probably won't get 10 Fiskars worth of life out of them. So, anyways, it's personal choice again.
Next up is some hex or Torx wrenches.
Also called
So
Allen
the-
keys.
Or Allen keys, yeah. There's Torx as well is kind of different than Allen keys, but we got
Torx
the
are
little
6
star. Yeah,
6-point stars, and Allen keys
Yep.
are 6-point like hexagons.
Yep.
I always called them me keys, and a lot of people laugh at that. I mean, mostly my kids, but
Hey,
the spelling
they're
wrong.
the only people I really care about entertaining. So.
Yeah.
then I've got a ladder, so maybe a medium duty, kind of in between the two.
Well, yeah.
If you're a heavy person, don't buy a medium ladder. Just
Well,
fair
and I learned the hard way when I went to the Home Depot in Barrie and bought one there. And of course, they sell like the light duty, which is color coded, I guess. Like Alan, you probably know that better than I do.
oh yeah,
It's I guess it's red, yellow, and something.
yeah. Yellow and blue are usually construction rated, so they're grade 1 CSA, grade 1, grade 1A, or grade 1 AA, whereas others are not. Red is usually grade 2, and green is usually grade 2 as well. Can't speak to other provinces, but in Ontario, if you're on a construction project, you must have a CSA grade 1 or higher rated ladder. So that's grade 1, grade 1A, or grade 1 AA. Mostly that's a weight rating. So as long as your match your ladder to your weight, and if you are a medium sized person, a medium duty ladder will do you. And if you're a large sized person, then you need a heavy duty ladder. Plain and simple.
Yeah, that's I didn't realize there was actually grades of ladders till after I bought mine
Yeah.
at Home Depot. So
Honestly, it's one of the things in my professional life that I fight with more. It's probably the thing that I fight most about, in that it's really hard to justify why a 120-pound drywaller needs a 300-pound rated ladder, but you have to, because that's the rule in the construction regulations. So
yeah.
there you go.
No,
That's my thing about ladders.
I'm taking medium duty off my list and gonna say
Alright.
read the instructions.
Read the instructions. Yeah, and of course match the size and style of ladder to the work. Right. If you've got a 35-foot roof peak that you need to climb onto, a 17-foot ladder is not going to help you very much.
No, it certainly isn't. It's next on my list here. I've got a broom and dustpan, which I guess would probably go near the end of the list, but I guess it's
Well-
kind of close to the end.
For sweeping up the ashes after you've
Yeah.
disposed of bodies.
Exactly.
I mean,
if you want to
Oh, wait a minute, wrong podcast.
if you want to stay married, that's important too to have the room and dustpan because divorce dust gets
True.
everywhere, right?
It sure
Yeah,
does.
that's true. Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Especially for drywall work, you never want to have that stuff get anywhere. So
No.
anyway,
A good roll of plastic and some painter's tape will help a lot with that too, but
Yeah.
that's a different
True.
section.
And then I know this one was mentioned in the live chat at wire cutters.
so
Never
you
know.
need to cut the green wire. No,
Yes.
the red wire.
Never cut the red
blue,
wire.
blue wire,
You never cut
Black
the red
wire.
wire.
purple wire. And then after you've cut the wrong wire, some electrical tape.
and possibly a defibrillator.
Yes.
And of course, the reason for electrical tape is because it's non-conductive, right?
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. And waterproof
true.
for
Yep.
antenna work if you're doing ham radio
This
work.
is true. This is true. Yeah.
It
then
does,
when the
however, it can, however, freeze. It loses its elasticity when it freezes.
It sure does.
Actually, quite the opposite. What happens when it gets super hot?
Oh, then it melts. Yeah.
No, it just melts like in your toolbox. It's just a mess.
Yeah.
I like to keep mine in a Ziploc at this point now. I learned my lessons the hard way on that one. But,
And then when the electrical tape fails, duct tape.
yeah.
This is, I mean, a lot of this comes down to two things, right? You need duct tape. If it's not supposed to move and it does, you duct tape it. If it is supposed to move and it doesn't, WD-40.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, that's an old joke. Please don't use WD-40 on anything. It's a penetrating oil, and it does a reasonable job as a moisture barrier, but there are far better things out there for it. 3-in-1 oil makes 3-in-1 oil by itself is a better preventative, and silicone is a much better lubricant than WD-40.
There we go.
Anyway. Connie brings up a good point to cut the barbed wire. I'm like,
Oh, good
yeah, but
point.
Fencing pliers. Yeah.
Yeah, or if you're like in one of those COVID re-education camps. I mean, health camps. You know, it's important too, right?
Recovery camps. Recovery camps.
camp. A couple of good pairs of pliers, and you can work harden a section of wire. If you just bend it back and forth enough, it'll eventually heat up, harden, and then break. Not that I'm encouraging you to destroy fencing in any way, but should the need arise, now you know how to do that.
Well, you might have to fix a fence on your own property.
You might have to fix a fence on your own property, and that's one way you can do it.
Exactly. And then rounding it all out, you're going to need something to put all these materials in, so a toolbox.
Yep.
That's important.
And the TNA tire ones are cheap, but by the same token, you put all these tools in there, and you lift up, and the handle's going to break.
Yep.
It's true. But then you have all these tools.
Don't try
you
and
can
put
fix the
all of
handle.
these things in one toolbox. You'll never.
No, terrible idea.
Well,
Terrible
actually, if
idea.
you get the old metal ones from the garage sales, that's where they really come into their own.
Yeah, and then you throw it your shoulder when you try and carry it any more than about 5 steps.
Yeah.
All right. Next category I've got is
Can I
growing
just
food.
add two things into that section before we move on?
I suppose. Sure, go for it.
Somebody mentioned it in the live chat somewhere, but a good set of chisels is
Oh,
invaluable.
yes. Yep.
And tap and die set. If you're going to be working with metal at all, you should have a tap and die set.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Absolutely. And then if you need a specific thread, like half 28 or something, they're available on Amazon for reasons.
Yep.
And eBay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And most local fastener supplies like Brafasco, Fastenal, there's usually independents in every reasonable size city
Well, there we go.
that will have that stuff in stock, and you're supporting an independent business, a small independent business, which is apparently very difficult to do these days.
Yep. All right, we'll move into growing food. So first and foremost, I've got a shovel for reasons.
The
Also, a lot of reasons. Yep. So
Yeah,
when you talk about shovels, right, there are a couple of different kinds of shovels. Don't use the flat blade spade to try and dig a hole.
No, terrible idea.
and don't
Terrible
pick
idea.
up alpaca poop with the spade for digging.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, short handle and long handle because of leverage and or weight of what you're carrying. It can come into play.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's amazing the difference in shovels that can
If
make.
you're over 6 feet tall, don't bother with a short handled anything.
Yeah, don't, yeah, it's not worth it.
Bother. Yeah.
No, that's made for people my size, Al, not for people like you. And, unless you're dual wielding or something, I don't know what for, but you know.
Zombies.
Exactly. But yeah,
So just for reference to all the listeners out there, Eric and I are both reasonably tall, and Ian doesn't come up to either one of our armpits.
well, it's like Foghorn Leghorn and the Chicken Hawk. I get it. I get that, but that's okay.
Oh boy.
It's all right. I never have to like squish into like a Ford Taurus or anything like some people, right?
Oh yes. Yeah.
It'd be a comfortable car for me. So
Yeah, that's
Hey, my first car was a Toyota Echo,
yeah.
and you can just picture that for hours and still don't understand it.
I'm glad I don't have to fit into a Taurus either.
No, but there's no, again, you can't have enough goon spoons on the acreage to make yourself happy. Like, I think I've got, again, from garage sales and other places, you actually just buy the blade and the replacement handles, wood handles. The blades you might get for $3 or $4 at a garage sale. The replacement handles are like 20, and yeah, one screw later they're together again, and just keep them painted and or the rust off, and they'll last for pretty much ever. So
Yeah, shovels are good.
Shovels are good.
One is none.
Next on the list is a hoe, and no, not that kind. Everybody, calm down.
But a hoe is no good unless it's dirty.
This is true.
I had like 3 jokes lined up for that, Eric. I've been waiting for this for like 15 minutes.
Well, you got to use them. You got to use them a lot to make sure they're dirty, right? Like
This is true. Yeah.
But you got to make sure that you clean them up before you put them away.
Yeah. You need to.
But the next person using it is not going to appreciate it if you leave your hoe dirty.
Yeah,
It's true. It's true. So wash it off after, I guess.
yeah. Sorry, Connie, if this is your first show watching. We're not actually like this normally, but anyway.
Yes, we are. We just usually don't put it on the air.
Usually this is pre-show stuff.
Yeah.
And then once you're done with the shovel and the hoe, there is the rake.
Alan's favorite.
There's so many kinds of rakes. So my favorite combination of this so far is the good like heavy metal tined rake, which is good for breaking up soil. That and an axe and some duct tape, and you've got yourself a perfect zombie defense weapon. A few of those, you duct tape the axe to the hoe, and then they step on it and does the sideshow bob thing, and comes up and smacks them in the face. But it's an axe.
Wow.
I put a lot of thought into this. And I have a lot of rakes, and a lot of axes.
Genius. It's reusable, and you don't have to put any effort in, and you don't get tired, and it's perfect.
It's a passive defense weapon. You just scatter them about your front lawn, and everything's fine.
Yeah.
I think we're just going to call it an episode right here. That's it.
Survival complete.
Survival complete. Yep. Everybody, you just won. Yep. But
ladies and gentlemen, that's my time. Thank you very much. Make sure to tip your waitress. I'll be here next week too.
But we'll carry on with the wheelbarrow because why not? After you've taken the zombie down, you need a way to wheel them away. So
get yourself a good heavy-duty construction-grade wheelbarrow. The ones you get at home are just trash. They don't take enough weight. They tend to twist and warp and fall over. But get the good heavy ones. It's something you'll buy once in your lifetime. Spend a few more dollars.
Well, that
exactly.
And there's a lot to be said for those dual front wheel ones because they're a little bit more, I guess, less unwieldy, I should say. But also the fact is that you can use that for everything from like building up, rock piles for fences or berms or whatever, defensive postures, whatever you want to do. But I mean, yeah, like Alan said, don't cheap out on that. It gets really heavy, but also have spare tire tubes for it.
Yep.
Because it doesn't take much to put a nail through the front wheel, and then you're out of luck. So
it's no good to you.
Yeah.
I've got pruning shears on the list here under growing food because you might need to prune a few things here or there.
Well, if you want to increase visibility up to the 5-foot level, and you want to knock off all the low hanging branches without like knocking the crap out of your axe.
6 foot level for those of us of normal size.
Okay, fine, the 6 foot level. Anyway, I mean, plus it actually helps collect kindling and small wood to burn. So I mean, and if you get the Fiskars, guaranteed for life.
Yep.
If you break a blade or whatever. So yeah, no, they are very handy little tools.
And then last on the list here for growing food is seed pots. You can't really grow stuff without a seed pot. I guess you could if you've got the area and the gardening, but if you want to start it inside or somewhere a little bit warmer for winter seasons, then seed pots are going to be useful.
Yep.
From the Facebook chat, Ellis Ruger said lots of tomato cages. We went
good call.
This year. Tomato cages are an absolutely great idea for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, good call on that one.
Excellent show. Excellent. Thanks, Ellis.
Shall we move into the list for breaking things for reasons?
Yeah. This is my favorite section.
I figured this would be a favorite one. So we'll start it out with pry bar.
Yeah.
Handy
Small,
for all
medium,
kinds of
large.
things. Yep.
And they're relatively cheap. I was actually surprised how cheap they are.
Yeah.
Again, spend the difference between the really cheap ones and the good quality ones is not a lot of money. Get the good ones.
Yeah.
I actually have one on my desk. I found it downstairs. It was in my basement. I had some plumbing work done, and I thought that my plumber had left it behind, but it turns out it wasn't his. So it was a bonus tool that somebody left in there at some point, and I found in the rafters. But one of the one of the forks is broken off, so it's only a partly useful tool. But again, like it's like they're cheap enough to buy. They're cheap enough to pay for the good ones to justify it.
Yep.
And useful. That's the good ones.
And I've got bolt cutters on the list.
Yeah, again, bigger is better, right? Like you can always go down in size with a big bolt cutter, but you can't go up in size very easily. So I would definitely say go for the bigger version if you can.
And you get the little hand versions too that are also good for cutting barbed wire.
And
don't ask me how I know that. And
padlocks.
It's small padlocks, but the small padlocks small enough that the little bolt cutters can work. You take that big screwdriver that Ian's been playing with all night and put it in the shackle and twist.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it does the same job with less effort.
Yep.
Or you could take a sledgehammer. Next on the list.
Yeah. So as I like to call it my finishing hammer, because that's for my detail work when I'm doing construction. As the wife will attest
helps
to.
with baseboard.
Yeah, and I found that people like when I was watching in Ontario when they were watching the houses get built, this is how they actually knocked everything into place and made it fit.
Yeah.
But again, you can get the head of the hammer for $2 or $3 used and get the wooden handle for it. And again, once in a lifetime purchase, keep it painted, and it's so good for everything from like knocking support posts around to dislodging stuff. I don't know. I've never
my current sledgehammer is being used as part of my workout routine.
Yeah,
take the sledgehammer and smash a tractor tire with it, and you do that 200 times on each side, and it's a hell of a workout.
That was that was a CrossFit thing for sure. We used to do that, and it's pretty awesome. And again, you get to play miniature Thor for a while, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And the heavier the hammer, the better it feels at the end.
Yep.
And
I've got a crowbar on the list. Why not?
There's between a crowbar and a pry bar. So a pry bar is flat, like straight with a flat beveled edge, and the crowbar actually has a little hook on the end.
Comes in handy.
And so that's why I was playing with this thing too, because this can be used as a pry bar as well. This big long screwdriver. This screwdriver is probably 2 feet long, and $3 at Princess Auto.
Well, like 2 feet in internet inches, or
so this would be this would be 4 feet in internet inches. So. $3 at Princess Auto, and good for everything from prying to whatever. It's just something you just don't have to care about too much. And like if you break it, it's no big deal. But yeah, it's good for prying, not just for doing the actual screwdriver trick. But it's
and for everybody that's losing their mind out there currently, not all screwdrivers are good for prying. Most screwdrivers you shouldn't pry with. Use the right tool for the job. But that particular screwdriver is intended to be used for prying.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I've seen people use it with brake jobs, even just to like pry open the brake calipers and stuff, or not the calipers, the pads, and it works great. So it's just one of those things where like you just because it's the leverage, right? So the big long handle, and then also just as a side note too, we forgot to mention the breaker bar. Whoop. So same idea, not a ratcheting socket set, but just the breaker bar for those extra rusted on bolts and stuff. Mm-hmm. Or if you're at the side of the road,
leverage.
Yeah, if you're at the side of the road and the stock supplied little wrench they give you for the wheel lug nuts isn't going to cut it, having one of these on board obviously is going to make it a lot easier.
Yep.
So just a thought there. And again, you can get these really cheap. I think this wasn't, but you can get them at Princess Auto cheap. But this one was a garage sale special, which I just found out before the show was a Mastercraft Maximum, which means I think it's good for life.
Oh, yeah.
I think I bought my Mastercraft brand new for about $12 on Boxing Day last year.
Yeah. So.
Next up, I've got the FooBar forcible entry tool. Because why not?
FooBar.
Oh yeah.
There's two sizes of FooBar. There's like a 36-inch FooBar, and there's like a 60-inch FooBar.
And
they're both worth their weight in gold. So the great thing about the FooBar, like it has jaws that are designed to wrap around 2x lumber and grip it, so you can just grip it and rip it. And then it also has the beveled prying end, and I think it even has a bottle opener section to it. Like it is absolutely worth its weight.
Once you're destroying things, you can have a beer. Perfect.
Yep, absolutely. And it has the striking head on it too, the striking face. So it's I know it's an unpopular opinion, but as a firefighter, I'd rather have the FooBar than a flathead axe when I'm forcing entry on a building.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, Alice points out that crowbars are good as well as a non-suspicious home defense weapon. And I was like, well, I guess if you go for a Street Fighter from the 80s video game, I think it was like pipe wrench, crowbar, baseball bat, and what else did they have on that game?
You could use chain.
The chain, I forgot about that one. Yeah, that was good too.
Yeah.
Which basically, I think Antifa played too many versions of that, and that's what they seem to use nowadays. But anyway.
Were they even old enough to play that game?
Nope.
Maybe I heard about it from my dad. I don't know.
And last but not least on my my list here for breaking things is safety goggles, because safety first. I
No,
figured Alan
safety's
would
like
appreciate that,
third or fourth.
Yeah. But
especially
by
when talking
the
about
same
breaking things.
if you use safety goggles, then you won't have to refer to our first aid episode.
You might want to, anyways.
You should
You should.
but yeah.
Well, you want to refer
Stuff in
to it in a
your eyes
hurry.
sucks. I can tell you this from personal experience. Having debris removed from your eyes is it's traumatic getting the stuff in your eyes in the first place, and it's even more traumatic having it removed. And your eyes are not something that heal terribly well, so take care of your eyes. Yeah, I'm pretty obsessive about safety glasses. I think I currently own about 8 pairs, for various reasons.
For breaking things.
Breaking things mostly, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, for the sake of a dollar store, go for
Yeah.
it. You know, it's better than nothing, right?
Yep. And I mean, even the really good ones that like anti-fog, and they come with like the cleaner, and they have the like the removable arms so they don't break when you put them in your pocket. Like the arms that kind of snap off and then back on. They're only like $4.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like go to your local industrial supplier and buy like 4 pairs, and they are well worth their weight.
So we move on to the miscellaneous list.
Mm.
Yep.
So I just smacked a whole bunch of stuff in the list that didn't fit really anywhere else, or fit in multiple categories. So first on the top of the list is a spare 5-gallon bucket.
There are no such thing as spare buckets. There are buckets I'm not currently using, and buckets that I am currently using.
Agreed.
So we talked about our sanitation aspect. You can use it as a porta potty. You can use it as just to haul water. You can haul alpaca.
Don't use the same bucket for those two things.
No,
well,
bad idea.
not one before the other. Anyway, I mean,
true.
Yeah, you can use the poopy one afterwards, I suppose. But yeah, no, I mean, I've never not had a reason for having buckets around. I must have at least 10 or 12 in use at any given time. So.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
They're great. You can never have too many 5-gallon buckets. Tarps and plastic sheeting, which I would hope, being of the preparedness mindset, you would have lots of these around already. But you may or may not.
Big rolls of it at the big box stores for it's like house wrap or vapor barrier, and it's dirt cheap, and they're huge rolls. Plastic sheeting, yeah. It's if you can't find 20 uses for it, then go back to the saran wrap in the end of the world episode.
And not just for a clean room like Dexter again, yeah.
I mean, I think we've probably done 4 episodes, including pandemic preparedness and the saran wrap in the end of the world and sanitation. Like there are so many different things that you can use plastic sheeting for.
Well, and the tarps too. I mean, more of a disposable mindset with the tarps, because they really don't last that long. But there's a lot of $5 ones when they're on sale at Canadian Tire, and they're 9x12. And again, you can use them in so many different ways that, and if you have to toss them afterwards, no big deal. For $5, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Next up, I've got the spare PVC pipe, just in some standard sizes, because you never know when you might need some.
Just about everything is 2-inch now, I've discovered.
And
internet inches or real inches?
Real inches.
Okay.
I mean, and that's internal diameter.
And that's also a roll of PEX. Like if you have a PEX clamp, like a PEX crimper, then yeah, you can't have enough of that either. So. And
to go with that PVC pipe, some pipe cement.
If you run out of liquor, you've got pipe cement still. That's your worst case scenario.
And worst case scenario, with zombies, you can make your potato cannon, right?
True. Yes.
Yep, absolutely.
Good. Some hose clamps.
Yep. Fuel leaks and everything else.
Yep. And then that way you can run your propane torch, because the fuel's not leaking anymore.
And like we mentioned before, don't buy the refills for the propane torches. Just get the 1 pound camping thing. It's the same threading, same amount for half the price.
Yep. It's a different shape and size.
Yeah.
That's all.
I've got on the list here soldering iron, one that runs on butane or some alternate fuel. Just in case you have to solder something, wires or whatever it is you're getting into there. Mm-hmm. I know this is mentioned already, but chisels.
Yep.
And then if you want to keep everything sharp, some files.
And again, different sizes, different coarseness of the teeth and everything else. Like you can get the the double flat bastard, the flat bastard, and and all the other ones like crosscut files and everything else. I mean, there's so many different files to use, but make sure you don't want to like use the coarse one on your fine pocket blades and everything else, and vice versa. But even needle files for sharpening chainsaws is handy too. So
Yep.
Oh yeah. And then last but not least, I've got pencils and chalk. Want to be able to write some stuff down.
and write on wood as required.
Yep.
The
Oh boy.
handiest thing I ever learned, it was a carpenter I saw do this once on a job site. He took a couple of pieces of painter's tape and he put it over the side of his measuring tape, and he would take a measurement and he would write it on the with his pencil on the measuring tape, and then he would take it outside and he had the number right there to make to go make the cut. And that is like, if you don't have at least half a dozen pencils to start a project, you're doing it wrong.
Oh yeah. And last section I got here is food prep. So you're always going to want utensils. I consider them a tool.
Yep.
A hand beater mixer.
Oh yeah, I've been waiting to show this off too.
Right.
There you go, the garage sale special.
Heck yeah.
Use this once, and then really appreciate your grandparents going through the depression having to use this, because oh my god, it's horrible.
Yeah. It doesn't look fun.
Because there's no torque behind it, and the teeth are kind of like ratchety loose and everything else. It works, but I wouldn't want to have to like do it forever. But yeah, it's there.
It'll get you through the loosest part of the, like it'll mix the dry ingredients really well, and it'll mix the wet ingredients really well, just not the wet into the dry very well.
Pretty much exactly that, yeah. And it's a thing, but a spoon might just do it as well. But I don't know.
Well, talk about a segue. Wooden spoons.
Oh, look at that!
Oh, look at that.
Fun fact: when you get wooden spoons really cold, they snap.
Oh, look at that.
I learned that this weekend.
I learned they snap when they get smacked over your butt when you're about 5 years old too.
Yeah. Learn that. We are so getting kicked off of YouTube.
And I didn't mean it in a dirty way either. Like I was trying to stay clean on that one.
Oh yeah.
I was just saying I was a bad child. That's all.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed.
I just think it's called child abuse now versus punishment. But
well, yeah. Now now the snowflakes will get a hold of you and get your kids taken away and everything else.
Yeah, and then our YouTube channel shut down.
Yeah. We at Canadian Prepper Podcast do not condone child abuse in any way, shape, or form. And
no, use your wooden spoons for eating only. So spatulas, again, useful tool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come in handy with your soap making episode.
Yes,
Sure would.
absolutely.
Also for making bacon and eggs and pancakes and hamburgers.
Wonderful.
Plastic explosives.
Hungry all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I've got strainer and pots on here as well.
Pots,
Cool.
not
Pots,
pot.
not well, yeah.
Well, preferably steel pots
Yep.
for going on top of the fireplace.
Yep.
And or if you have a portable, what do you call those, conductive heaters, or they have those conductive elements that only work with metal pots.
Induction.
Induction heaters. That's it.
what-
Sorry.
yep.
Thank you. We got one of those little singular burners that can actually be run off a generator or whatever as a backup thing, just in case as well. So if you do have gas or electric that requires 240 volts, you can get one of those ones, and they only take like 500 watts. So
Yeah,
Good to know.
it's a thought.
but you need metal for that. Yep.
Yep.
And then last on the list is the handy dandy can opener.
If you don't have 3, again, you're failing.
You are.
And the bottle opener.
Yes.
True.
Yes.
It's like the one thing that I miss about wearing a wedding ring is always having a built-in bottle opener.
Yeah. You don't want to chip a tooth at this point when you're off grid, right?
No.
Yep.
Bad idea.
All right. Cool. That was quite the comprehensive list. We managed to kill some time doing that. The only thing I was going to mention too is the sweet saw, only because of the fact that you mentioned the axe. If you're going to cut down a tree, yeah, axe is great for cutting it down, but you need the sweet saw to get into like usable lengths, and then you can split it again after that, right? So.
Yep.
And a good chainsaw will also help with that.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, I guess
If we're off grid and we don't have access to fuel, then you need a sweet saw. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
and spare blades, of course.
And spare blades. Yes, those blades are reasonably delicate.
Yeah. So after Eric mentioned that giant list, I mean, I couldn't really imagine, like, I don't know, adding to it. So, at this point, but I have to actually bring up the good point though too. Like, imagine if you're trying to bug out or escape London at this point, as people are currently doing, and having to try and carry all this stuff with you to your bug out location or whatever, alternate location, hunting cabin, whatever.
Good luck to you.
Yeah, good luck carrying all these. Like, it's never gonna happen. You're gonna forget something. You're not gonna
yeah.
have enough room. I mean, everything else. So there's a lot to be said for pre-caching and or just leaving it up wherever you want to have it and use it.
And also making sure, like, paring down your set into something that's travel friendly. Like, if I'm traveling with my truck, I have a little bit more room for tools, but I probably don't need my 1/4-inch sockets. I can probably do everything with my 3/8 and like my two half-inch sockets that I need for changing tires and accessing that like one other thing in my life. Pare it down to what you reasonably need. If you don't need precision screwdrivers, then don't let it take up space.
Oh, I have to back it up just 1 second here. Ken brings up a good point. Steel toe boots. And having knocked down a bunch of trees and having them roll the wrong way and everything else. Oh, yeah. Steel toe boots. So, yeah, actually, and again, a military surplus store, you can get the Gore-Tex steel-toed boots for maybe $40, $50. Or you can spend a lot more than that at Canadian Tire if you want.
Don't buy boots at Canadian Tire.
I might know a guy that sells boots.
Yeah. RapidSurvival.com.
Yeah.
You can get good boots there.
And not to mention, steel-toed boots make great offensive weapons or defensive weapons. Depends on your viewpoint and your court case. So
they are an excellent tool of opportunity should you find yourself in a position to apply force to overcome aggression from somebody.
Oh, well put. There you go. Also, of course, Jason did mention the chainsaw. A flour sifter, it's a good point.
Yep.
Just a flour sifter can be used for multiple things too. Is like almost a pre-filter for water too, getting bigger items out like sticks and rocks and everything else.
Mix and Coke.
Like not just a flour sifter, but a colander, same idea. Whisks, same idea.
What? Colander, that's the Holy Bully?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've used that for all sorts of, even when I used to strain like the corncob media with the reloading. Yeah, again, a pre-filter for water, everything else. Yeah, and then barter items as an idea later on too. If you have extras, you can always, like, some people aren't gonna have these when they really need them, so yeah, might be something you can barter away. This is actually not going to give away too much OPSEC, so.
Yeah,
I like it.
I mean, the knowledge and the ability to repair things is invaluable, and you can't just go to the store and buy something else, buy a replacement.
Yeah.
Jason made a good point about gamma lids for your 5-gallon buckets. So they've got the snap-on ring and then the threaded lids. They create like a water and I believe also airtight seal.
Yep.
I believe so. Yep.
They're fantastic. Great source for buckets, by the way, is Firehouse Subs franchise across North America. If there's one in your town, they get all their pickles, which are excellent pickles, also in 5-gallon buckets. And when their buckets are empty, they sell them for a $2 donation to their first responder fund, which goes back which stays in the community, which is a bonus.
Good to know.
But they're $2 buckets that are food safe, and as long as you don't mind them smelling like pickles, they're great for whatever you want.
No, they won't smell like pickles for long, that's for sure.
Yep.
Nope.
Nope. The other thing I was going to say for people that want to like start their collection up, don't buy new. If you can swing it at all, like just go to like the Restore, the thrift shop, garage sales.
Mm-hmm.
Make a game of it because there's no mass panic for it, but there's no sense of paying top dollar for like, a hand drill or a hand whisk or a hand mixer or whatever, because it's just not worth your while. But yeah, check it out. Make a game of it for sure. And then the other thing I was going to say, take advantage of the warranty items if you can get them at the garage sale, or if you do buy new. It used to be Sears Craftsman was the way to go, but of course they're gone. But Mastercraft,
Craftsman still exists. It's just sold by Lowe's now, and it doesn't have the same warranty. But Mastercraft, most of Mastercraft tools, not all of them, but most of them have that lifetime warranty on them.
Yeah, and like so the Maximum for sure does, and I think some other Mastercraft stuff does.
Yeah.
But
the Mastercraft hand tools do. It's the power tools that don't. Yeah. And some of the consumables, like the utility knives, they don't guarantee them forever because it gets too complicated when they say, well the blade dulled, so I want a new one. Well, the blade is covered, but the knife isn't, so they just took it away.
Yeah. And then the other thing I was just going to mention, Fiskars as well. I go back to them all the time, but yeah, relatively cheap, warranted for life in the meantime. And it's easy enough to have a second one on hand for redundancy, I guess.
Yep.
So you mentioned the iPro, and somebody else mentioned the steel toes, but we can't forget the ear protection. So whether it be chainsawing or just pounding with a hammer on metal,
Or listening to your in-laws.
or me, or whatever, like ear protection. It's a thing, right? If your ears are ringing afterwards, you've already created like permanent hearing damage. So
Yep.
yeah,
The general rule is anything where you're going to be exposed to more than 85 decibels for more than 4 minutes. You want some kind of hearing protection.
or if you're listening to Dr. Tam.
You're
I
welcome.
couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
The views expressed by Ian do not necessarily reflect those of the Canadian Prepper Podcast. They also don't necessarily not reflect the views of Canadian Prepper Podcast.
Oh boy. Well, shall we move into the podcast challenge with that?
All right. So as if we haven't beat into your head enough, find 3 cheap non-electrical, which also happen to be EMP proof at that point, tools at your local restore or thrift store. So find 3 cheap tools if you can, and tell us what you found and how much you paid.
Awesome. All right, we'll move into upcoming events.
I guess I'll grab the first one here. Attend a Mapleseed event. So Mapleseed events, which are of course basic marksmanship courses, 1-day course, they are done for the year, but they're going to be starting up in, I believe, March. There's a website, mapleseedrifleman.com, and also a YouTube video in the show notes. Give it a try. I highly recommend it. I may or may not be showing up to some of these as a instructor in training next year. So, we'll see.
Ooh, fancy.
Oh.
Ooh. But yeah, so I mean, it's definitely worth your while, guys. Like, I took the course, loved it, and meet like-minded people. If you're looking to start a mag, improve your shooting skills, there's no downside, and it's great people to meet for sure.
Nice. So I've got mentioned here the Radio Amateurs of Canada, or RAC. Their 2021 Winter Basic Ham Radio Operator course is starting up. So you can check out their website. There's a link in the show notes here. Or if you just Google RAC Winter Basic Ham course, it'll come up. They're only asking $50 for the course. So great price for it. And then the price of the study guide as well, I think, is around $50 as well. So you're looking at about $100 to do the course. Like I mentioned, I think it was the last episode, I went through and did their advanced course. Thought it was very well put together, very well done. And if you look at the dates and think, oh, geez, I'm not going to be able to attend all of them, well, they email out the next day after the course a link. They record all the courses, so if you have to catch up, you can. So it's not a big deal. I had to miss a few when I was going through the advanced course, and I just watched the video the following day or a couple days down the road when I was able to, and it's not a big deal. So it's definitely worth the time, and it's not overly expensive if ham radio is something you're interested in getting into.
Yeah, cool.
Sorry, just going to jump back to the chat for a second. Philip Dow, who's on the screen right now, but a few minutes ago he also asked, what tools do you generally carry as first responders? Those that you rely on are likely to have high potential for use in preparedness activation scenario. Short answer, Philip, is it depends on who you are, what you do, and where you work. Personally, as a firefighter in a rural setting, we have a lot of less precise tools, stuff to just make holes and make holes bigger. Because part of what I do is opening doors with the least amount of damage possible. I have a couple of little, like in my gear, I keep a couple of little pry bars. I usually have a 2.5 pound dead blow hammer on hand, and some specialized tools that will help me open doors. Otherwise, within the prying tools section that we talked about, every fire truck has half a dozen Halligan bars on it, which is a really fancy pry bar that has a little pick on it. And go to YouTube and watch forcible entry videos, which I could watch all day because I absolutely love doing it. And that's Halligan and an axe are the basic tools that will get you through most things that you need, as long as you're not trying to do anything precise or repeatable. They'll destroy most things that they come across. So that's my advice there. Yeah. And then warranty for life. I like the Fisker's sharpening concept, but I don't like the idea of giving up my tools for 6 weeks to do it, and I don't trust somebody to not take a grinder to my axe and soften the steel.
So so Philip, for the audio listeners, he said warranted for life is great until the grid is down and you can't get a replacement. I do understand these items should be expected to be a higher quality, and when the grid is up, they can be returned. Fiskars also does sharpening of the saws, I believe. So yeah, they do actually do sharpening or replacement of the edged blade part of anything, as long as you have the model number to give them, and you can send in the old part. They'll see what they can do with it and send it back. That's why we kind of said you can afford to buy two of them for the price of one, like Grand Forest Brooks axe. By the same token, if you want to have a wooden axe for redundancy for an off-grid scenario versus a grid down scenario versus an off-grid cabin, then yeah, I suppose you can get a fancy axe head and then a bunch of replacement axe handles.
Mm-hmm.
And you can always have a file to keep it sharp and a couple wedges to keep the head in place, so you can just do your own repairs. For me, it's just a time savings thing. If I have a Fiskars go down, I just call them, I send a picture, and they send me a new one. I don't even have to send anything. So I just it's happened with the pruning shears and one axe, and they've just replaced it, no questions asked. As long as I can take a picture of the model number and take a picture of what happened, and it's on the way. It's kind of funny that way, actually. So it works out well. But yeah, if off-grid cabin versus grid goes down, two different scenarios. But yeah, whatever your personal situation is, I guess that's what matters, right?
Yep.
So that's it.
Good stuff.
Right. Shall we move into some shoutouts?
I ask everybody if they can. Tonight is Sunday evening. Tomorrow, Monday afternoon, voting ends. There's a link in the show notes. It's through a local builder here in the London area, Ironstone Builders. They give away a ton of money every year to worthy causes. This year, they're looking at giving $10,000 to an agency that gets the most votes right now. One of the agencies that is vying for that money is London Search and Rescue. We've talked about why search and rescue organizations are important in previous episodes. London Search and Rescue actually had their trailer broken into earlier this year and a ton of equipment stolen, and this would go a long way to helping them remain operationally prepared. So if everybody could do that, I'd really appreciate it. Frankly, no matter who wins this money, the City of London will be better off. There are no bad causes that are up for debate right now, but I think London Search and Rescue would be an excellent place for that money to go. And so again, the link's in the show notes. If you can follow that and cast your vote, I'd really appreciate that before tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time.
And we'll put it up on I'll put it on the live chat right now, but also we'll put it on the Facebook page and make sure that the word gets
Thanks,
around.
Ian. I'd appreciate that. That's my shout out for the year, for the night.
Cool. Eric, you got anybody?
Nothing for the night, nope.
All right, I got one for the just the listeners and gunnies in general. It seems that the CCFR calendar that we were plugging the last few episodes has now sold out. So
fantastic!
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So I mean, women's shooting sports. When the government comes out and says they're banning guns to try and prevent violence against women, it's a nice argument to give them that there's lots of women shooters out there and they're well funded now. So. Yeah, it was a good cause, and I'm happy that they got their calendar sold out, so that encourages them to do it again next year, and everybody's happy. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I would move into email and iTunes reviews, but unfortunately both were dry for this episode, so got nothing for this section. Yeah. So, we'd like some email, good or bad, at feedback@prepperpodcast.ca.
Tell us what you want to hear.
Yeah. But with that, I will bring episode number 97 of the Canadian Prepper Podcast to an end. It's probably the last time you'll find us on YouTube, so check out Tor next week. You can find us hopefully on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, your favorite podcast app next week. Please help us out. Submit a review. It helps other people find us.
And we do record these shows live on Facebook and YouTube for now. If you want an early peek at the shows, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Canadian Prepper Podcast, and click the notifications tab. That'll give you an alert when we're going live. If you want to get me directly, you can find me at Alan, that's with one L, at prepperpodcast.ca.
All right, you can reach Ian directly by emailing me at thewesternretreat@gmail.com. You can also find me on Canadian Patriot Podcast on iTunes and YouTube. We record Monday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. There you can find us discussing why government waste in society makes you want to be off-grid.
All right, so please check out Rapid Survival at rapidsurvival.com. You can get me there on the live chat while buying some prepper gear. You can also email me at feedback@prepperpodcast.ca. So thanks for joining us this evening. Till next time, be prepared, stay safe.
And keep learning.